Oh, great. The Minnesota Vikings keep on winning games and keep on climbing up the power rankings. So happy. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Podcast, a podcast where you don't, I do Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Seriously, what the hell is going on in this NFL season? Grossi, and today we are going to be breaking down and ranking the top 10 teams heading into week 4 of the 2024-2025 NFL season. And good God, we thought that week 2 was full of chaos, and week 3 seemed to outdo it even more. We're going to be putting out the predictions video tomorrow, and my pick'em league is, it got destroyed this past week because there have been so many upsets. You have QBs playing well that you did not think were going to play well. You got shocking teams. You got teams you thought were good, and they absolutely suck, and that has made power rankings very, very difficult. However, we're going to frickin' frack and try. And so, with that all being said, let's start off with number 10. You got the New Jersey Jets. That's right. Sorry, Giants, you won one game. Malik Neighbors really good, but it's not going to be you. The Jets absolutely pulverizing the New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football. It was in prime time, and things, they are a-changin'.
For the first time in a long time, there's no weight on my neck.
Jets fans finally get to see what having a good QB looks like, and Aaron Rodgers was looking good on Thursday night. The defense was playing really well. They really shut down anything the Patriots were trying to do. On top of that, the Patriots O-line is so abysmally awful. And the pass rush was able to get after Jacoby Brissett or Drake May for a hot second with no problems at all. But on top of that, paired with a good run game with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and Allen Lazard playing real well at receiver, this offense looked great. And looking at Rodgers in particular, you look at week 1 with the 49ers and they got steamrolled. They're still dealing with the Hassan Reddick thing. They're still dealing with that. But the big concern I had was that the mobility of Aaron Rodgers seemed very, very limited. However, this past Thursday, he was looking good. He was able to scramble, pick up first downs, extend the play, and this is the kind of Aaron Rodgers the Jets wanted to get. And it looks like things are finally starting to come together at least a little bit. I know it's only 3 weeks into the season, so we can't jump the gun yet, but the Jets, if they play like they did on Thursday night, they are going to be a competitive team this year, and they're going to need to be against the Buffalo Bills, who look like they are still really damn good. But the Jets, after an easy win and an impressive win, they did enough to get into the top 10, and we'll see if they can go any higher from there. Following that, at number 9, you got the New Orleans Saints. That's right, Saints, a tough loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. Their offense just was not able to take off like it was in the past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah? Watch this.
Watch what?
But their defense looked pretty good. Wait, I've heard this story before, and so has every single Saints fan. And I gotta talk about the defense here because they really kept the Eagles in check. Besides a Saquon Barkley long run for a touchdown and Dallas Goedert just getting open and just breaking free of coverage at the end, the Saints defense was really, really stout. And instead, we looked at their offense, which has been a recurring issue over the past few years. They got rid of Pete Carmichael, they brought in Clint Kubiak, and for the first 2 weeks, that offense looked really, really good. Derek Carr was playing really well. Kamara had an amazing game last week. However, the Eagles defense was able to keep them in check, and unfortunately, bad news for the Saints that their center McCoy is also going to be missing a good amount of time. So throw all that on top of it, it wasn't a great game for the Saints. You gotta hope that offense is able to recapture some of those points from the first 2 weeks and hope that this is just a fluke and not a trend, because like I said before, Saints fans have seen an offense that has failed them year after year ever since Drew Brees left, and their defense has been really good, so hopefully this is not the beginning of a trend. However, the Eagles, I think, are a pretty damn good football team, and so because of that, I gotta give the Saints some props. They still had those big wins the first 2 weeks. They were able to keep the Eagles mostly in check besides 2 big plays, and so because of that, they're sitting at number 9. Number 8, we back, baby. You got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. The Packers, I thought about this. I was like, do the Packers deserve to be in the top 10? Because listen, we're 3 weeks in. Everybody has pretty much beaten everybody except for the couple teams that are still undefeated, which includes the Seahawks and the Steelers. I don't know. Don't ask. But the Packers, after their week 1 loss with the Eagles, Jordan Love getting hurt, there was a bit of panic that was settling in. Malik Willis was going to start for who knows how long. And thankfully, Jordan Love, his injury is not as serious as he may be even playing this Sunday against the Vikings. But Malik Willis, who hadn't thrown a passing touchdown or over 100 yards passing his entire NFL career, there was some trepidation here. Malik Willis, they got a close win against the Colts last week, and then heading in for the revenge game against the Titans. Oh, Malik Willis played well. And I want to be very clear, it's not just Malik Willis who played really well and why they're in the top 10. It's because the entire team around him played a really damn good football game. I know it's against the Titans, and the Titans are riding the struggle bus right now, but got to give credit to that defense in which they were able to get after Will Levis all game, 8 sacks, multiple turnovers. On top of that, 7 interceptions in just 3 weeks. McKinney, 3 interceptions in 3 weeks, and this defense is looking real, real good. They're going to be challenged against the Minnesota Vikings this week, which I cannot wait for that game. I think it's going to be excellent, and we're going to see who the real kings of the North are. Sorry, Lions, you get put to the side for a second. But yeah, exciting times here. The supporting cast of the Packers looks good. I'm excited to get that passing game unlocked when Jordan Love comes back. But for right now, Malik Willis, you are the star, and maybe in another life, Malik Willis could have been our quarterback.
有来生，我还是会选择和你一起报税，开始一点。
I've seen the movie. It's a great, great scene. Following that, at number 7, you got the Detroit Lions. The Lions able to hold off the Arizona Cardinals and get the win. Their defense playing real, real well. And Jared Goff won the game with his legs. Who saw that coming? However, I want to talk about the Detroit Lions because, again, I think they're a good football team. I like the Cardinals as well. They had a hard-fought game. They just couldn't finish it in the second half. I want to talk about the Lions because, unfortunately, they have a litany of injuries, especially on that offensive line. And now they're about to go play the defense of the Seahawks.
I'm scared, Pancho.
You ain't afraid of no man.
There's something out there waiting for us.
The Seahawks, a team that has given them many problems over the years and just for some reason has their number. It's going to be a tough game on Monday night. But for the Lions, I got to give them props because they are playing well. Their defense definitely looks radically improved from where it was last year. I'm talking about that secondary, and that's all good. I think Dan Campbell will have them ready, but this will be a great litmus test for the Lions to see how good they really are. They've knocked off some quality opponents so far. That's why they're in the top 10 still and sitting at number 7. Number 6, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles coming away with a big-time win against the Saints. And I know Eagles fans are happy reminiscing on what happened last week, which made this win this week even sweeter.
Hey, Squidward, did you see me?
And let's be very clear, Jalen Hurts put up a ton of yards, and unfortunately, they're dealing with some injuries as well. Devontae Smith is out. A.J. Brown didn't have him for this game again. They really need him back. But the defense of the Eagles played really, really well. And I know there was going to be a come-down period for the Saints because they've been putting up over 40 points in the first 2 games. And the Eagles' defense was up to the challenge. They were able to limit Derek Carr and that explosive Saints offense that we saw the first 2 weeks of the season. So they got to get a lot of credit for that, which is why they're at number 6. I'm also assuming their offense is going to get better when they get guys returning from injury. However, I know there are some concerns with some coordinators. I know there's some concerns with Nick Sirianni. But ultimately, I know Eagles fans are a little bit down right now, but this is a big win that you had in week 3. Throw on top of that, it looks like the Cowboys are struggling right now. The Commanders look real good against the Bengals, and I'm really curious to see what that matchup's going to look like when the Commanders take on the Eagles. But overall, the Eagles, I got to give them props for an impressive win this past Sunday. Clean up things on the offense, get some guys returning from injury, and I'm sure they'll be climbing higher than number 6. Number 5, you got the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, they're 3-0, and nobody's talking about them.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
And I almost had some issues putting them in the top 5. However, listen, let's be very real here. They beat the crap out of the Dolphins. The Dolphins who didn't have Tua, they had Skylar Thompson, then they threw in Tim Boyle, former Green Bay Packers legend, and they kicked the crap out of them. Their defense was excellent. Their offense moved the ball. Charbonnet had a great week this week, which was much better than the performance he put on last week. They're still waiting for Kenneth Walker to return, but DK Metcalf had an excellent game with Geno Smith. And the Seahawks, they're just getting it done. They're beating the teams that are in front of them. And even though it's not a great Dolphins team, hey, they're 3-0. And I think the 49ers or anybody else in the NFC West would take a perfect record over what they currently have. Plus, the Rams and 49ers are completely injured. But yeah, I got to put the Seahawks at number 5. They're going to be playing the Lions, as we talked about before, and that's going to be a great test for them as well. We're going to see if they're going to be able to handle what the Lions are going to throw at them. I believe in the Seahawks defense a lot. Byron Murphy is looking really good. It's just going to be, can that offense take that next step? I know that we were kind of waiting for that last year as well. It's only week 4, but the Seahawks, they're in the undefeated club. And we'll see if the Lions can change that. Number 4, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers. It's Steeler football, baby. Knocking off the LA Chargers. The Chargers, unfortunately, dealing with a ton of injuries. But it turns out Justin Fields might actually be a pretty good quarterback.
Justin is the ugly girl in the movie who takes off her glasses and she's hot.
Oh, Chicago. But the Steelers, they're not doing anything fancy, but Justin Fields had his best game as a Steeler thus far. They're running the ball pretty well, and they went up against a good team in the Chargers. And the Chargers were basically a mirror image of the Steelers coming into this game, in which they had a good stout defense. They were running the ball really well, and it was just going to be a matter of who's going to win this game. Injuries eventually whittled out the Chargers, and the Steelers, they were able to have a dominant defense. Once again, TJ Watt is an absolute monster. Also, congratulations, as he's about to have his first child, which is fantastic. And the Steelers are just playing hard-nosed, smash-mouth football. They're looking really good within the division, as the Ravens were able to get a win, but the Bengals and the Browns are struggling. And so because of that, Steelers, not only at number 4, maybe Steelers go to Super Bowl, because at this point, why not? Number 3. They're in the top 3. You got the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are 3-0. Oh, they beat the 49ers. So did the Rams. Oh, they destroyed the Strouds. Okay, that was impressive. The Vikings are sitting at 3-0, and the rest of the NFC North is starting to notice. It was supposed to just be the Lions versus the Packers this year. But taking a look at the Vikings, you got to give it up to Brian Flores in his second year as their defensive coordinator. Has completely revolutionized that defense. They're getting pressure. They're locking up receivers. And yeah, they made CJ Stroud's life pretty damn miserable on Sunday. And I thought they would have had a chance against the Strouds, but I did not think that they were going to be that dominant. And looking at the offensive side of the ball, Sam Darnold, playing really efficient football, had 2 really nice TD passes. He had 4 on the day, no interceptions. And Aaron Jones is playing real well. I swear, if I see that stupid bank vault crap at Lambeau Field on Sunday, I am going to lose it. But besides that, the Vikings, you got to give them a ton of props. On top of that, I do have to give the Vikings a ton of credit. Justin Jefferson went out later in that game, but he's playing really, really well. They don't have Jordan Addison. They don't have TJ Hawkinson. And so that offense could get even better. I do think that there's going to be a settling down period for the Vikings. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can sustain this. They're going up against the Packers, who just had 8 sacks on the Titans. We'll see how that interior offensive line is going to hold up against them. But for right now, I got to remain consistent and as unbiased as humanly possible. So the Vikings, you're in the top 3. Please do not let them go any higher. Number 2, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. We got a new number 1 team, baby. The Chiefs, able to pull off a win against the Atlanta Falcons. And I know what the Chiefs were thinking after they saw that pass to Kyle Pitts.
You didn't see anything, right?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. No, sir.
And let's be very honest here. The Chiefs defense is playing pretty damn good football, and the offense is not at its best. Of course, you have Isaiah Pacheco out, Travis Kelce not getting really involved in the passing game a lot, and Patrick Mahomes is not playing his best football either, but they're still 3-0. And for the Chiefs, they're in really close games, but they're pulling out the win. Again, even though they're not playing their best football. They were able to knock off the Ravens, barely, by a toe. They were able to knock off the Bengals. That was really close. And they were barely able to knock off the Falcons. And I think that there's some quality opponents in there, even though the Bengals are not playing very well. They always play the Chiefs pretty tough. But this Chiefs team, I don't think that there's a ton of concern here. They just got to wait for Isaiah Pacheco to get healthy again. Carson Steele did just fine. And I think that as the year continues, the Chiefs are going to look even better. And so I got to give them props for being 3-0, a close game on Sunday Night Football. The Falcons were really close to winning that football game, but the reigning, defending Super Bowl champs hold on and are sitting at number 2. And finally, at number 1, feels good, you got the Buffalo Bills. And I'm sure Chiefs fans aren't bothered at all being dethroned from their number 1 spot.
I'm ignoring you. I said I'm ignoring you. Stop ignoring me, ignoring you!
But I just gotta give props to the guy who was playing some of the best football we've seen in these first 3 weeks, and that is Josh frickin' Allen. The Bills dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars last night. And listen, I don't think the Jaguars are a good team, but the Bills, they made them look like a god-awful team. The Bills were just able to move the ball at will, scoring touchdown after touchdown on each of their drives. Josh Allen looked phenomenal. James Cook looks really good. And it doesn't matter if it's Keon Coleman, doesn't matter if it's Curtis Samuel, doesn't matter if it's Khalil Shakir. They are scoring points and looking real damn good doing it. They were able to knock off the Cardinals, who were a very quality opponent in week 1. Week 2, they dominated the Dolphins, and this was before Tua got injured. The defense is looking really stout. Von Miller's playing really well. And last night, like I said again, they dominated the Jaguars. And it's just the way that they're winning these football games. And again, with Tua, I think the Dolphins are a solid team, and I think the Cardinals are a solid team. So I gotta just give them props for the way that they're winning these games. Both sides of the ball are humming along. They don't really have to worry about the Dolphins or the Patriots in that division. And instead, their main competition is going to be against the Jets, which I cannot wait for that game to occur. But right now, the way that Josh Allen is playing, he looks like the best QB in football, you know, besides Sam Darnold, which that makes a lot of sense. But overall, Bills, congratulations on the number 1 spot. Let's see how long you can keep it. And so just to recap, at number 1, we got the Bills. 2, you got the Chiefs. 3, Vikings. 4, Steelers. 5, Seahawks. 6, Eagles. 7, Lions. 8, Packers. 9, Saints. And 10, Jets. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off it? Who should have gotten honorable mentions? I know you'll let me hear it in the comments, but let me know. You know, find me at Tom Grossi Comedy or Tom Grossi Comedy, all social media, see down below. A big shout and thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And folks, we are on the race to 1 million subscribers to get that gold play button. So if you enjoyed the content, feel free to like and subscribe. It greatly helps out the channel, and I appreciate you. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go. Please beat the Vikings.